Yokoso ni DNVR Avalanche Podcast ko AJ to Rudo to CMac ga ofushizu ni tsute katarimasu. I don't think I did that one very well, though, but that's all right. DNVR Avalanche. I'm just having fun. Can a guy have a little fun with the intro to his show?
How can you possibly have fun in the shadow of heartbreak? What's wrong with you?
You gotta find the fun where you can, all right, even in the bad times.
It's true.
Another off-season show here. Probably a topic of conversation that is going to be eternal for the Avs this offseason until the position is solved. We're going to talk a lot about the 2C spot for the Colorado Avalanche today. We'll get into that in a little bit, though, as we do have some other topics of conversation to get into, including what Azare was just talking about there in the chat. Finalists for the GM of the Year award announced today. Chris McFarland not making the final three. Obviously, knowing they lost in the first round, you can have a little bit of hindsight and say, well, all those moves led up to exactly nothing. But these awards in the NHL are supposed to be regular season awards. They're based on what you do in the regular season. That's how they're supposed to be voted on. I think we on this podcast have advocated for him to have been a finalist, given just the workload that he put in as a GM this year.
Yeah,
I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Snubbed, or are you okay with him not being a finalist?
Genuinely, what did Kevin Cheveldayoff do other than watch his team go on a percentage bender for 82 games and then barely survive as the President's Trophy winner and then kind of low-key get their shit rocked in round two? Like, he didn't change his roster in any meaningful way. He didn't have a big summer. Like, he didn't, like, GM of the Year for standing pat and then bringing in Brandon Tanev and Luke Shen at the deadline. GM of the Year, that's the finalist? That guy? Like, what the hell are we looking at? I don't care about this award. This is meaningless. You almost never, because of when it gets voted on, you almost never see a team outside of the conference finalists actually get into it, so that Cheveldayoff is in it is more like kind of an upset here, but like, what did he do to deserve it?
I feel like perception hurts McFarland here a little bit, just in terms of the Avs were a projected contender from the beginning, but anybody that watched the team understands how much change they went through. I mean, it was no secret, obviously, the amount of moves that they did to completely overhaul this roster and get it to a point of from, basically looking like, oh man, are they going to be a fringe wildcard team to, I mean, the team they were by the end of the year. I guess I don't know what else he could have done to elevate his case in this instance, but I'm with you. To me, just from a perception standpoint, it kind of feels like he was dinged because it didn't work out and the Avs lost to the Stars, but that's not the spirit of the award. So I guess I'm just confused on what the criteria should be.
Where I struggle with why, I guess part of the reason I don't understand why he didn't get more credit is a significant number of these moves are more than just this season. Like, yes, the Brock Nelson rental was a pure rental. Well, even that, maybe not necessarily, but I'm operating as it was a rental until the Avs sign him, if that happens. But a lot of these other moves, Blackwood is now their goalie for the foreseeable future. Someone like a Charlie Coyle is signed on for next season. I guess Lindgren was a theoretical rental as well, but For a guy who made as many moves as he did, Necas has another year and is likely to be extended here. Drury has another year here. It's not as all in as people are making it out to be. Yes, there was some high risk, and the first round loss does look bad with the draft picks that the Avs no longer have. But for a bunch of moves that a GM went to work on to help build this team, the fact that he's not getting GM of the year for building a multiple year group, I really struggle with the voters on this one.
And what's the alternative, though, right? Like, if he doesn't make those moves and the Avs stay a middling team like they were before Christmas and potentially sneak into the playoffs or, like, worst case, miss them altogether. I don't know if that would have happened, but considering the goaltending issues, I think it was a possibility at least. Like, if you don't make those moves, you're going to get flamed just as much as you do and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and the counter argument is, to what end? You make all those moves and you lose in round one. So, neat. But the number one thing, the Rantanen thing, certainly looks like it does in a certain light today than it did at the after
storyline's tough. Storyline's tough there. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you do look at the Avs become the first team in modern NHL history to completely overhaul both goaltenders before Christmas, and they go from a bottom 3 goaltending team to a top 5 goaltending team the rest of the season after those trades. How often do we even see, because you and I talk about this literally every single season, how often do teams make big goaltending trades in season and get positive results?
Almost never.
It is so rare. And not only did the Avs do it, but they did it early enough that they would have runway to get those guys incorporated into the system and comfortable, so that they're not playing, 16 games behind a team into the postseason. And that it took stones, and to make some of these moves, like, I certainly wasn't a big fan of the Wedgwood-Annunen swap when it happened, just because recent history, ages, contracts, everything involved in it really made me not feel very good about it. And now today, I'm like, I don't even know how to spell Justus Annunen anymore. He's so out of sight, out of mind about it. And, and obviously with Blackwood, I'm like, I don't even, who was even in that deal? I don't care at all about that trade.
Kovalenko.
Like, of all the trades that they make, that's the one that you look at and you go, by far an easy win right now.
Yep.
So that's, that one was, I think that he deserves more credit for that. I can understand why Jim Nill is there. The Rantanen trade, he's always there, but like the other work that got done there, like over Cheveldayoff easily. Come on, give me a break.
Right. Like, even if you're taking the playoffs into account, Cheveldayoff's team lost to the same team the Avs lost to. It just, they happened to play them in the second round instead of the first. So, like,
right. And that's after like scraping by as the President's Trophy winners.
It took a miracle comeback in Game 7 against St. Louis.
Right. And the Avs choked away a third period lead in Game 7 against the team that beat them. Like,
yep.
I guess Cheveldayoff is the one that bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, too soon, J. Mike. But yes, like the Bill Zito and Jim Nill, it's fine. It's fine. But Cheveldayoff being in there makes me not thrilled about a thing that I don't even care about. Like, it annoys me about a thing I don't care about. I couldn't even tell you who wins this award on a regular basis. Like, ask me the GM of the Year award winners for the last 5 years, and I'm just gonna be like, I don't know, pick a conference finalist, I guess.
When are these votes submitted, and is this like the player awards by the writers? Like, who dictates this award?
I think
it's after the first round.
Yeah. I forget who votes on it though.
League executives do.
Okay, so
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a theory. I don't think league executives would want to vote on this, but should we, instead of giving out awards, should we give Raz awards in the NHL? Should we do worst GM of the league award at the end of the season?
Dude, like least valuable player, like worst goaltender. Yeah, you want to give out Razzies? It sounds so fun for podcasters and brutal. Like, the NHLPA would be like, under no circumstances.
Yeah, I would feel worse about doing it to the players. I don't feel that bad about doing it to like front office staff and stuff. All I'm saying is,
Like,
you know,
I mean, it could be fun, dude. Like worst trade of the year, worst off-season signing of the year. Like that would be kind of fun. Well, okay, great. Next week we have a Razzie
we're in
show.
the DNVR Razzies.
You could
Perfect.
You could do like how in The Office, how Michael every single year that Pam is still engaged to Roy, they like give her the award for like longest engagement or whatever. Just keep giving it to Toronto every single year.
You could give it to Buffalo for longest playoff drought.
Yeah, that'd be good. I only bring it up because there might be a team in the conference finals who I'd consider giving worst GM of the year to. So I'm just, it takes a special franchise to go 0-14 in conference finals.
Dude. It's got to be like genuinely, that has to be one of the strangest streaks in sports, right? Like not winning a championship is one thing.
Yeah.
Like not like the Avs losing, what is it, like 7 straight game 7s. That's a weird thing. Toronto now matched it, so the Avs don't even like have like sole possession of that record anymore.
Toronto's done it in like 10 years though.
Right. Like it's like yeah. Some of these things suck, but like 14 straight games, because I know that the Minnesota Twins had lost 1 million games in a row in the playoffs too, because they got
It was like
swept by the
26
Yankees
at
every
one
year.
point. Yeah.
Like it was incredible, and you're like, that's baseball, dude. Like come on, like
That's
some
also
like bloop single in the 9th inning hasn't happened for you over like 20 years.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Toronto wins multiple series, or not Toronto, Carolina wins multiple series every year before hitting this brick wall.
Like it's a good team that wins 2 playoff rounds in the hardest playoff format in team sports. They win 2 playoff rounds and then can't win a game.
Is it weirder than the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls?
I mean, the Bills, it's funny you bring this up because I was thinking about it literally this morning about the Bills losing those Super Bowls, but now also they can't even get past Kansas City to get to losing the Super Bowl. So it's just like, I mean, that whole sports city just feels cursed. Like right, like Sports City Razzie goes to Buffalo because
Minneapolis
it doesn't even matter if
the
the team is good.
too.
Like, I mean, it used to be Cleveland.
Yeah.
Jonathan in the chat saying, is that just an indictment of a divisional playoff format, which is a conversation that we are about to have? I guess we can kick it off here. We have a minute till we need to go to break. So the next conversation I wanted to get into, I'm sure everyone has seen it on Twitter or wherever. NHL playoff viewership way down this year. Like under 1 million viewers for conference finals game 1. We talked about this a little bit on yesterday's show, but it's not great. I get there's some things that are out of your control. It happens to be a run back of last year's playoffs 1-1. Both conference finals are the exact same matchup. That obviously doesn't help, but is the NHL missing the boat here? Is there something they can do to prevent a viewership drop like this?
The easiest thing is the 1 through 8 seeding, because where those teams finish every year is a lot more random than the top 3 teams in a division. That there's way less variance year to year about who those teams are. They might finish in different positions, but a lot of those same teams are going to be in there every single year, with like slow changes over time. And so that creates, Edmonton, LA, 4 straight years. Under 1 through 8, how many times would they have matched up? I haven't looked, so I don't know, but I don't feel like it would have been 4 straight years. It wouldn't have been this year because it would have been Colorado, LA. Yeah. So that alone right there, like it just creates that format, and it puts all the eggs into the first round basket. Like Colorado Dallas is going to be the most anticipated postseason matchup of the entire playoffs. It happened in round 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too long in it because I know we got to get the break in here, but to me, that's the simplest fix. Like, don't create a format where you have the possibility of 75% of the top 8 teams in your league being eliminated before we even get to the championship round. Maybe you have some more intriguing matchups.
It's a good point. I do want to dive a little bit deeper on that, but we do need that break, like you said. So let's pay it. If you want to build a good playoff format, you got to start with a good foundation. So make sure you've got a good foundation to your floors when it comes to Empire Today. Jump in with Empire Today, use the DNVR code or head over to empiretoday.com/DNVR and you can get $350 off your new floors. And Empire Today will make sure they are the best floors out there. They only carry the best products. So whether it's hardwood, whether it's tile, whether it's carpet, you can rely on Empire Today to bring you the quality. You can get great products, but you don't even have to go in store. You can go online and use their tools to check what it would look like, measure out your room there and see. You can have a free in-home estimate where Empire Today will come to you and they'll bring like swatches of flooring that you can look at in your room. You can see what it looks like with your furniture. And they're just great at what they do. They use professional installers. It's all good when it comes to Empire Today. So schedule that free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners, again, can get that $350 off their new floors with code DNVR or going over to empiretoday.com/DNVR. Again, restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/DNVR for full details. Or, of course, you can always call 1-800-588-2300. Empire. Once you've got your floors, boys, what's the eating? Is it 3-second rule or 5-second rule?
I think it's 5 seconds, right?
I would go 5. To be honest,
Depends on how much of a monster you are. Depends on what you drop on the floor.
yeah. If
Depends
I
on
drop
what floor it is too. Not all floors are equal.
that's a
Very
fair point.
true.
But if I drop Raising Canes, it might be a 10-second rule for me. All right. I'm not giving up my Raising Canes. I got to eat my chicken fingers. All right. If you need flavor fast, you can order at raisingcanes.com or use the Canes mobile app where every chicken finger is hand battered and cooked to order. Every crinkle cut fry is crispy and perfectly salted, and every piece of Texas toast is buttered to perfection. And of course, every bite isn't complete without their absolutely delicious cane sauce. You could probably dip the flooring in the cane sauce and it would taste good. So you can't go wrong with cane sauce. Are you hungry yet? Dive into Flavor Flav's faves over at Raising Canes. It's Canes o'clock. Time to dig in at Raising Canes Chicken Fingers. One love. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. It's the conversation about the NHL playoffs is tough. On the one hand, yes, the format obviously causes top teams to go out early, and it's an unfortunate, it's dumb, and it's silly, and it feels like it would be an easy fix. On the other hand, hockey has a problem that a lot of the other sports don't, where they are divided across the northern border, right? When Edmonton is in, a lot of Canada is extremely interested in that, but you see a heavy drop in viewership from US viewers. And then on the flip side, I think it's less so the other way, but when you get smaller markets like a Carolina, things like that, you maybe lose viewership on the Canadian side of things. And I don't know that there's a great solution for that for the NHL, but it does feel like maybe this is just my bias as us being DNVR, but the Avs and Nuggets were scheduled on the same day, 5 of 7 games in round 1. There's got to be a better way that the NHL can do the scheduling of this when competing with the NBA.
It was embarrassing. And what I got tired of hearing was, well, the leagues aren't going to work together. And I understand that sentiment to an extent. But when you have two teams that are considered contenders in the same market, why would you not do whatever you could to try and maximize your potential audience so that people that are the more casual sports fans who aren't, obviously I'm in the arena for all those Avs games. So I have the Nuggets game pulled up on my iPad. I'm trying to half-ass follow along, but I've got to cover the game. So I'm much more locked into that. But there's a lot of people like my dad who's, in his mid-50s, and yeah, he's somewhat technologically savvy, but he's not going to fuck around with the multiple screens and try and stream one on this. He's just going to pick one. And I just feel like there's a whole lot of people out there who are like, you want to know what? I'm just going to pick one. I'm not going to go through all of this. And I think that's a great point on top of everything you said about, geography. And I don't think Florida, Carolina moves the needle as much as if you had like Chicago and New York or, any of the original 6 teams in there. Like there are levels to this. And even Edmonton is probably not going to move the needle like a Toronto or a Montreal would. But I think more than anything, like, making it that difficult for people even in their own market to watch the playoffs, then how is that going to come out with a good number? Like it just feels like common sense to me.
Whatever that comment Tiff just had up. Every fan base, you have half the teams in the NHL playing in round 1. Those fan bases are tuning into round 1. When you eliminate the fan bases, the fun teams, the exciting teams early, you lose even more viewership than just the guys who are watching their own team in round 1. So it's bad. Anyway, AJ, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I just reiterating J-Mike's point that you're splitting one market. Like, that for both series, like, that the Denver market which isn't the biggest market, but it's also not an insignificant sized market. Splitting it in half, 5 of 7 games, only serves to hurt both leagues.
Yep.
Because instead, how many of us are going to watch both of those games? Like, there's a lot of people in both markets that are just going to casually tune in to, oh, hey, the Nuggets are playing. Okay, great. Like, it helps both teams that they have superstar players that like neutral observers are going to want to tune in to see, but it's the playoffs. Like, there's great players playing in every game and in every matchup that people will care about watching, and splitting that viewership like that, it absolutely is self-defeating for both leagues. It's not like one league is really getting hurt here. Both of them are.
Yep.
Because like you're taking Denver and you're cutting it in half. Like the DNVR bar, instead of having all those TVs
14 watch parties
to one game.
Yeah,
exactly. You're having, like, they're split in half every single night, and it's like that across the entire city. Every sports bar is like, okay, well, half and half. Like,
you have to put both games
there.
on. Yeah.
And
is it an ego issue? Do you feel like, AJ? Like the NHL, I would say as a whole, if we're saying the common sports fan, the NBA is bigger than the NHL. The NHL, if you're trying to clash, and it's like, no, we're going to go head to head, you're going to lose that battle with the more casual sports fans.
Yeah, no, the NHL usually obsessively avoids competing with any other league at every turn. They don't want to try and put their product up against those products.
3 months of their season refusing to play games on Sunday. Like,
right. Like, there are no Sunday games the first couple months of the season as often as possible, because they're like, we're afraid of football. And even Saturdays, like, they even try to work their way out of Saturday games because they don't want to mess with college football either. Football is an American juggernaut that just destroys in ratings. And the NHL is like, well, we've lost that battle. We're not going to compete. And, like, justifiably, you understand it's very little brother syndrome, but you understand why they make that choice. But when it comes to the postseason, yeah, you would want to see them like, hey, if the building availability isn't a problem, and this year it wasn't, because of, the Nuggets were hosting and the Avs were on the road, like, they could have easily just continued to split, and both leagues chose not to.
Just alternate nights. Like, it wouldn't have been that big of a thing to work around.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sucks for us. Obviously, we're like a hyper local viewpoint of this, but it does suck for us. And but the NBA and NHL regularly have cities that have a team in there, and for them to not give any consideration to this is like, come on. Like, you're hurting yourselves here. This is not you being afraid to compete or whatever. This is both of you just shooting yourself in the foot.
I was going to save this for later, but this is actually a good segue so we can just get into this topic. One of the great successes for the NHL when you're talking about competing head-to-head with the NBA this year was the Four Nation tournament instead of having an All-Star Weekend. They smashed NBA for the NBA All-Star Weekend versus that tournament. So I'm curious if they can expand on this a little bit, if they can try to bring this into other avenues, particularly in the summer, where you get a pretty big dead zone. And I get it. Players need time off. I understand the other argument to this. But when you look at what we do here at DNVR, yeah, okay, you have the season that goes through late June, cup finals, fine. Then you have the draft. Then every team has their dev camp. And then you pretty much have nothing until September when you get these individualized rookie tournaments across the country. And we've seen the NBA take that concept and turn it into Summer League, where they make a big giant festival of all the rookie and sophomore players, and this stuff gets broadcast on TNT. Whereas you're lucky if the local NHL rookie tournament gets broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah, anywhere at all.
Like, is there something the league can do to help grow that summer profile a little bit the way the NBA has? Or is this just the NBA is big enough to do that and the NHL isn't type of situation?
The thing about Summer League too is that the quality of the games is horrible.
Yeah.
It's
awful.
brutal to watch.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does suck. But it's like,
it's just a step above NFL preseason. Like, it's an actual game at least, but it's a glorified practice scrimmage setting.
That's no different than rookie tournaments in the NHL, though. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No,
like,
and I mean, I get where you're at. Like, they have obviously been able to create a lot of interest in the league from it. I will say, just from like my standpoint as somebody who like covers guys and then go on and play in the summer league, the one thing that I think summer league has an advantage compared to the NHL is just the players have a lot more recognizability. Like, people know Cooper Flag, they know the college basketball players. Like, there's a lot more common names now. Like, if you had Sidney Crosby or whatever type, player coming into it, that obviously changes things. McDavid, a generational prospect. But I do think the fact that you have such an international presence, like, is there really going to be any
random person on the street who Matthew Schaefer is, they're going to look at me like I'm a weirdo.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
I think this is a huge point though, because those rookie tournaments and those rookie showcases and dev camps like don't feature a ton of star power. It's like, yeah, it's exciting for like us.
Sure.
But there are a lot of people that work that cover teams that work in hockey that are like, oh, a prospect, I don't care anything about any of this, because they're not going to be in the NHL for the foreseeable future.
Well,
so they're just off the radar completely.
So let me pivot off that, because we're seeing, I don't know if I would call it success, but things like the Beauty League and 3 Ice gaining a little bit of traction for summer leagues for various levels of pro hockey players. Is that something the NHL can capitalize on, or is this really just the NHL players need 6 weeks off?
I think that they need the time off, but it wouldn't hurt if they had, if they were getting a little bit more traction there. One thing about the summer league that I think makes it such a success, though, is that the stars of the NBA support it. They come out. LeBron is sitting courtside. Like, those guys are there. They're attending these events. They're there to see what's on their team. And if you have ever dropped money on a ticket to a rookie face-off game, you'll go there, and there's tons of guys from NHL teams, tons of guys like us that are there. It's great for a networking opportunity, but you don't see Nathan MacKinnon wandering around doing his thing. There's no support from other players, from the faces of the league, and that could help. Part of that problem is the timing of it, because the rookie face-offs lead directly into training camp. So Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, those guys are always doing the big NHL media event at the, to promote the league itself.
So stick it in the middle of August instead or something. Yeah.
Well, and I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just gonna say the development camp that happens immediately after the draft. Just do that. Just have a couple of the big guys there. Do the rookie face-off then, instead of right before the start of the season, and you still have a little bit of interest in the league. You would want to time it so that it's not conflicting with free agency, which is something that the league needs to stop doing. Again, putting events right next to each other that conflict with each other. How many times have you and I been down at FSC covering Avs Dev Camp, right in the middle of free agency where we're
someone
like,
gets signed and we have to scramble.
Yeah.
They've got to take
chaos,
notes from the
dude.
NFL there. Like, as much as I roll
Yep.
my eyes at the NFL and the way they have managed to make it a 365-day sports calendar of relevance, like, they do it
Yeah.
great in terms of this is free agency, this is the draft, this is training camp, this is like, there's always something to talk about.
I mean, even after the draft, here's your first mini camp, here's your OTAs, and then here comes training camp. Like, I'm always like, oh, the draft is over. I'm free from the NFL's grip for 6 weeks. But then there's
1
OTAs,
week later,
and then it's back, right? Like, it's like, oh, is RJ Harvey a superstar in waiting? And you're like, ah! But like, from a marketing your sport perspective, it's brilliant. And the NHL, one word you're never going to use for how the NHL sells its own game is brilliant.
That might be the opposite of that word you would use. I would say one potential wrench in having those earlier rookie stuff, the college free agent date of August 15th. A lot of those guys end up going to rookie stuff. Would make that a little bit harder.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I want to float something by you guys after the break. I got a question that I want to hear you guys go
Cool.
to.
We'll answer that question the same way I'm going to answer the best option for banking. If you're looking for banking that plays at your pace, whether you're tailgating, grabbing halftime snacks, or catching the game from the couch, First Bank is in your corner. With their secure, easy-to-use mobile banking app, you can check your balance, split the tab for stadium nachos, and stay on top of your money anytime, anywhere. Excuse me. It's like having a financial MVP in your pocket. The Avs had one of those recently. The Nuggets have had one of those a lot recently. Let First Bank be your Jokic, I guess. And here's the play that pays. You can earn $300 when you open a new First Bank checking account. Use it to score tickets to the Nuggets, Avalanche, or Rockies, or whatever keeps your game day going strong. First Bank makes managing your money feel like a win. No games, just solid tools to help you stay in control right from your phone. So if you're ready to take your banking game to the next level, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC. Once you're taking care of your money with First Bank, make sure you're also hitting up your local Front Range Toyota dealerships for the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche and the official vehicle of us here at DNVR. Whether you're a truck guy or gal, they got that covered for you with Tundras and all sorts of other ones. I'm not a truck guy. I won't lie to you. I won't pretend to know what's cool about trucks. But if you got dogs like me, you might be interested in the SUV. 4Runner, throw the dogs in the back, great way to go. Or if you're just looking for a daily commute driver, like a sedan, like the Corolla, Toyota has it all. Whether you're conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there is a Toyota vehicle for you. They have 17 different models with all-wheel or four-wheel drive and 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, including trucks like the iForce Max Hybrid. Jump in with Toyota today. Visit those Front Range stores, including AutoNation Toyota Rapid in Centennial, Corin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevens Toyota in Aurora, and Stevens Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche and DNVR. Toyota, let's go places. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. What do you got for us, Justin?
All right, 2 quick questions, and I know we got to get into the center stuff, so I don't want to derail us too much.
We got a long off
I'm trying to
season.
think
It's all good.
That's a good point. Yeah, we got plenty of time to talk all this through. I think, one of the things that obviously was such a great success was the Four Nations. And the thing that's hard to replicate with that is the international element and just kind of the fire that comes with that, the intrigue and the storyline. But you've got the World Hockey Championships going right now. And I know that's not the NHL, but just in terms of growing the general hockey brand, why are they head to head with the NHL playoffs? That just seems stupid. Like, if you're trying to create extra interest in hockey, I want to watch all these guys. Well, I'm going to watch the playoffs more than I watch that. The other question I have for you guys is, I have long theorized that the NBA specifically should push their season back 2 months, start closer to December, dominate the summer. Nobody can compete with football anyways, so why don't you just throttle baseball all summer long? Could the NHL do something similar? Like, what if you just started in December and the Stanley Cup's in August?
We've talked about changing the schedule, and like I've said, hey, the Winter Classic on January 1st being the first game of the season would make it a much bigger event in everybody's eyes. But then you are playing hockey into August, and like you would have to
It
basically
feels
change
weird.
like
Yeah.
well, and you would have to change the global hockey calendar because the KHL, the SHL, the Liga, every European league would have to change. The CHL would have to change its entire schedule. The draft would be like in the middle of the postseason at that point, or you're pushing it all the way back, and those guys don't have a chance to really make rosters at that point. Like it would throw off the synergy of all the leagues. And then, as somebody in Toyota chat just mentioned, your quality of your
The
ice
ice,
is going to get
yeah.
even worse.
How much
Like-
worse
Well, they're
can
going
it
to
get
play an
than it was
outdoor
in
game in
Dallas
Florida,
already?
apparently, so they're not that worried about it.
Yeah, like there are so many considerations to it. At this point, I would love if the NBA decided to do exactly that and just gave the fall to the
It
NHL.
makes more sense
Like,
for
hey,
basketball, I think, than hockey, even outside of all the reasons that you just listed, even from like a simple sense of basketball feels like more of a summer sport and hockey does not.
yes,
But I don't know. I just think as much as you could be in a position where baseball, which is a very regionalized sport, is the only like true thing you're competing with, and having some of the playoff games even not go head to head with Knicks, Pacers or whatever. Like I don't know. I would be intrigued by the possibility despite the potential headaches with it.
I mean, think of the viewership if Knicks Pacers was happening the last week of July and New York fans were like, oh hey, like the Yankees and the Rays are playing a 3-game series, and the New York Giants and New York Jets are about to waste everybody's time again. Like it would just it like the intrigue of the sport, I think, would only go up. So I think it makes more sense for the NBA than the NHL. But I would like to see. I know you kind of touched on the international element. I would like to see them continue to try and push international events instead of these waste of time all-star events, because that was a huge thing. And like
everyone
Four
was
Nations
into it.
this
I
year,
watched an all-star event in 15 years, and I was locked into Four Nations.
Well, and this is it, because this year is Four Nations, next year is the Olympics. Is 2027 really going to be like a classic all-star game format where
It'd be a
everybody's like,
colossal miss if they went back after seeing the success. Like that would be insanity.
I don't care. Force these events. I do not care. Force them. They will be much more interesting.
Look, if money was no object, unfortunately, money is an object, and the NHL just realized this year that they can host their own tournaments and make a boatload of cash by doing this. But if you would just humor me and ignore the money for a second, does it not make perfect sense to have the World Championships in February 3 out of 4 years, and then every 4th year it's just the Olympics instead? Like every European league, every North American league, every year can just build that 2-week break into their schedule, and 3 years it's the World Championship, 1 year it's the Olympics. Like,
and like J Mike, you mentioned World Championships. Rudo and I have been doing this pod for a long time together, and 0 times have the two of us ever cared about World Championships. Avs have been there, Avs have not been there. It has not mattered to either one of us. We do not care.
I cared a tiny bit in 2017.
We're like hockey junkies, right? And it's like, oh, hey, yeah, when the Avs were bad and they were sending players there, and it was like the only chance we ever got to see Avs do stuff like this because they couldn't make an all-star game. Like, fine. But for the most part, dude, nobody cares about World Championships. They're irrelevant. Like, was Denmark beating Canada an awesome moment? Yeah, that's great. That's awesome for Denmark. I don't care. It just doesn't matter.
Here's the thing, though. I think if you moved it to February, maybe you'd be able to get people to care, because a lot of the reason no one cares is because the semifinals of the NHL playoffs are going on at the same time. And which one are you going to watch? Like,
that was kind of the point. Like, I might have been incentivized to flip it on, but
like it's not best on best, because how many star players are still competing in the NHL right now that would be at World Championships? And
I do think the other side of that, ignoring the playoffs of it, which is dumb, it's at the end of seasons. When you put a tournament like that at the end of the season, a lot of players are like, my season just ended. I am going to Cabo. Like, forget this. If you put it in February, I think And all-star games have had issues getting people wanting to go to them too, so maybe that wouldn't solve it all that much. But I do think there is a scheduling point of like, put it at a time where people might actually want to play hockey, and you might get more people to show up.
Well, I mean, I'd rather go to Mexico than do a slap shot competition and skate around and do a bunch of flag football shit too. So,
well, and it's just as bad a look to go to the event and do what Nikita Kucherov did a couple of years ago, where it
was worse, probably.
Dude, he just like on ice ghosted it, and you were like, "This is a waste of everybody's time."
I kind of respect the pettiness of like, hey, I didn't want to be here. You made me be here, but it's a bad look, obviously.
I absolutely respect it. I think you would stop All-Star games overnight if everybody just banded together and was like, nope.
I mean, that's basically what happened with the Pro Bowl. It got to a point where it was like, all right, this is not even a practice rep. Like, this is walkthrough.
Yep.
Hear me out. And this was just a passing thought, so don't actually listen to me, but hear me out. Baseball has the Savannah Bananas, all right? Historically, basketball has had, does hockey need a travel skills competition team that's just fun and does cool stuff?
I think it would be, do you remember Rob Schrempf?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, elite shootout guy, had incredible hands, was not a good hockey player.
Like Pavel Barber.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Rob Schrempf type of guy to go out there and like shoot out like crazy stuff, light the stick on fire, like nonsense, right? Honestly, a traveling, goofy, nonsense hockey team would be fun, but you would still have to have like, who are they going to play against? And the Savannah Bananas, part of their shtick is that they came up with their own brand of baseball. Like they made their own like version of baseball, and it's not just a baseball game where they dance and sing and stuff.
I'm saying, like, so go get some figure skaters that can do like backflips and stuff. Like, you can
give them a stick.
I don't know. Yeah. Like that sounds like arena football back in the day. Like you'd go to a Crush game and it's halftime and they've got monster trucks and dirt bikes going through flaming hoops and a Kid Rock lookalike contest. And it was like, I get how it's fun for the more casual sporting fans, but even as somebody who's like very artsy and embraces like theatrical dorky stuff. Like I was in theater, I was an actor for a while. I did all that stuff. I love it. But to me, like I love baseball and I love musicals, but I don't love them together. Does that make sense?
I'll be honest.
You didn't like High School Musical too?
It was all right.
Savannah Bananas are not my speed. It is not my thing.
Yeah, it's like just not
100%. But
I'm the dissenting opinion here that I think they're super awesome, and you have no idea how mad I am that they're coming to Denver right after I move.
I am of the belief you should let people enjoy things, and I'm not going to sit on here and be an old man about it. But if somebody was like, "Hey, I got a Savannah Banana tickets at Coors Field, would you rather do that or mow your lawn?" I'd rather mow my lawn and listen to some Steely Dan than do that.
What? You would rather mow your lawn than go watch some goofy baseball at Coors Field? Brother, this is maybe the hottest take we've ever had on this show.
So when's the kid
which
coming,
is really
Justin?
saying something.
Oh, dude, I'm full old man mode right now. I'm excited to get some fertilizer down tonight. I gotta get some good trimming in this weekend. Like I'm embracing it.
I'm happy for you because my lawnmower is like a 20-year-old electric mower that if the grass is longer than like 2 inches, I have to go over the spot 6 times just to get it to cut. Lawn mowing is my least exciting thing right now.
I like old white guy things. This is not a secret within the company. Like I like Pearl
so that's
Jam.
why you like hockey.
Hardware.
Got
I like
it.
baseball and hockey.
I understand you've always been a 50-year-old man in a younger body, but I would rather mow my lawn than watch Savannah Bananas.
I genuinely like mowing my lawn. That's not even like because it would be a punishment. I just think it's a fun activity.
Hold on. It's on big lawn, just sit.
No,
mower or
it's not
push?
that intense. It's just it's a nice little backyard, little front. It's an easy project.
Okay, all right.
Between this conversation and Tiff changing the subject to the boys are getting old, my mind is so blown right now. I cannot believe this is the most off-season. I can't believe this conversation is happening before August. Truly an accomplishment.
You literally look like you're about to cry.
Dude, I just don't understand.
I'm gonna send you guys a selfie of me with my smiling with my lawnmower this weekend. Just
There we go. That's.
I can't believe this is my life. The LeBron meme.
yep.
That's
Anything
that's
is
gonna be
possible,
our
baby.
stand-in thumbnail for all of our August shows. Is J Mike with his lawnmower just smiling?
This is a great bit. This is a great bit.
Did you have
It's
another
better than
question,
watching
Jay?
the Rockies.
Or should we move on?
We can move on. I think I've derailed the show enough for one afternoon.
That's what we're here for. When we're 5 days a week in the off season, derailments are the name of the game. All right, transitioning back into the Avs here. Let's have the conversation about experimenting at center. The Avs have done a lot of this.
No, let's talk about lawns. No, let's talk about lawns. I can't talk about the 2C thing again. No.
Hear me out. It's safe to say a lot of the Avs experiments last year didn't work. Parker Kelly, not a center. Ross Colton, better at wing, but maybe you can have a conversation about him being a center at least. The one that keeps cropping up, now that Gabe Landeskog's back, can he play center? Can he do the weird pseudo center thing, at least for somebody, where he's the F3 all the time in the defensive zone? Is this a functional solution for Colorado in the coming season? Or do you guys think they really need to commit to a proper 2C, even if that is a Charlie Coyle or whatever?
So I think when you ask,
old friend.
yeah, dude, we'll talk about this after the show. But anyway, so what you're asking is, can Gabe Landeskog do kind of like the Jamie Benn thing that Ben has been doing for years?
I'm open to other names, but Marty Necas isn't a center. Stop. It's not. No.
Yeah, the Marty Necas conversations are like remember when the Avs tried it? Like, do you remember? Because if you don't, that's fine.
That they tried it for because it was so bad.
It
didn't
last
like,
the whole game, and it was like, this is a train wreck, and just said no, thank you. Like, Marty Necas is not a good defensive player. He never has been. It's trying to put him in the middle of the ice and asking him to transform who he is just let Marty Necas be who he is, okay? And if you look into free agency, there's two names. Not honestly, Jamie Benn is technically going to be a free agent.
He's going to get signed.
No. But two guys in Claude Giroux and Mikael Granlund, who have played a lot of center in their careers, but are probably better profiles as wings, that would not break the bank and would not be long-term solutions, but you could see where they would fit in some way. Where you're just like, oh, okay, like this, like you could talk yourself into
center together with that and Landy.
It's fine, right? Like if you had Mikael Granlund at center, and then you had Landeskog and Nichushkin on the wings, and then you had Coyle and Drury as your 3 and 4 Cs, like you could see where this makes sense. It's not high end. It's not going to be amazing because Granlund has never really been much of a center, but you can at least understand why it happens. And the same thing would happen with Giroux, where Giroux played a lot of center in his career, but is not anymore. He's a right wing now. You can understand that. So trying it with Landeskog, I think, is more wish casting and is more like okay, well, we've re-signed Jonathan Drouin, and how do we make all of this work? Well, Landeskog's now your center. Like, all right. It's funny that we all view Sam Bennett the way that we do now, because he wasn't a surefire true center for a while
Until
in his
he
career
was,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, he was a guy that hacked away at the wing for a little while, and then it was like, all right, well, now we got to play him here. And like, I wonder, like, would he probably be a better wing, but it's fine. Like that, you're not looking at very many options here. So if you were to get creative, like, I've said this already a few times, but I think it's not going to be a huge shock to me if the Avalanche don't do anything at center and they go McKinnon, Coyle, Colton, and Drury. And Colton, it's funny that we look at Ross Colton's time as a center and we go, he's not a center or whatever, but as a center, as their like 2/3C that 1 year, he scored 40 points and his underlying numbers were terrific.
Yeah.
But we would watch him play and we would go, there are a lot of defensive breakdowns here. There's a lot of brain farts because he's trying to figure out how to do this at the NHL level, and he's really like it. One reason that Tampa Bay was comfortable moving on from him was that he wasn't like a hard, like a surefire center, and he played there occasionally for them when they had injuries crop up. Like, the centers might already be on the roster if that's what they decide to do. And last year he had such success on the wing early on that they were like, he's never going back. All right, well, we live in a different world now where you've blown all of your assets trying to solve this center thing and you haven't done it. For me, it would be the safe as death option to do that, but at least it's we have this money is already spent option. And if you're trying to go out and force it with another center, like, you would rather try and find another Kiviranta to play on your third line type than spending more money on like a third, like Yanni Gourde. And now you have Charlie Coyle and Yanni Gourde, and one of them's your 2C and one of them's your 3C, and you're like, oh, I don't know if this is any better than what it would have been had we just stuck with Ross Colton.
My only thing there, that just feels like you're kicking the can move to me. For the regular season, I have no problem with Charlie Coyle being your 2C. For the playoffs, I wouldn't feel great about it.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Coyle just got his face kicked in as your third line center on lines that were largely having a great deal of success at 5v5.
Yep.
So I'm just not, what? I guess we could always talk about Ryan Donato too. Like, neat.
Dude,
there's your
I didn't even
landmine of a contract.
put him on my list. Yeah.
Duchesne, you didn't talk about him.
I definitely didn't.
Could be an affordable option, potentially.
If
For
we're
somebody,
living
I'm
in
sure
a
he will
world
be.
where he wants to come back to Colorado, maybe that's the first
Yeah.
hurdle you have to clear.
I just feel like there's a higher chance that they trade for Ryan O'Reilly than Matt Duchesne comes back.
Yeah, same.
That's fair. I mean, at least there's a proof of concept with Ross Colton there.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, they got to be able to win faceoffs in the offensive zone, man. Like, I'm not an expert by any means, but that was the thing that made me want to rip my hair the most in some of those late games against Dallas, was just like, you can't control possession if you never win a freaking faceoff.
AJ?
It was a much larger issue last season than it was this most recent one, but
You might want to put your earmuffs on for 30 seconds.
don't do this to me.
J-Mike, any interest in John Tavares as a potential center option? Not even guaranteed that he leaves Toronto. It sounds like he wants to stay there, but certainly if you're looking for a guy with a little bit more of those face-off type abilities or intangible type stuff, Tavares has been a captain. He's got some of that. Obviously, he's never won anything, but I don't know. Is there interest there?
I mean, I'd be open to it just because a player of his skill level. Obviously, you're going to have aging concerns at this point, and what do the next 3 years look like versus the last 3? Like, have we already seen the best of him? That would probably be the side
Most
I'd be more
likely,
willing
yeah.
to bet on. But I mean, that's kind of the position you're in if you're Colorado, right? Like, you don't have those surefire options. The guy who's 25 and up and coming and is going to sign a team friendly deal. Like, you're going to have to, if you bring someone in, go with a retread like a Ryan O'Reilly or a Duchesne, or take a gamble on somebody like Tavares or something like that. I mean, I think you could do worse. I'm curious, why is this such a potential sin in AJ's mind?
He's an Islanders fan.
This is a deep cut for me. From a hockey
I hate
perspective,
CU, but I'd
not
like Travis Hunter to be on the Broncos.
not a personal thing. Putting aside my personal thing with the traitorous swine, I will say the foot speed is a major problem.
It is.
The
He
foot
is
speed
slow.
in Colorado would be a really big problem. He's already kind of slow in Toronto. He also, people can look and they'll see, oh, he had 30 goals, but long stretches, he ran really hot and cold this year, and when it was cold, you were like, oh!
Well, so
And
did
I
Nico,
wonder if
though,
that
and
is
that's worked out pretty good for him.
Yeah, well, a little different. I'll move on. That guy, he just, I wonder if him running that hot and cold and still ending up with 38 goals this year is that's the last gasp before he hits that, smashes into that wall.
When does hot and cold become just cold?
Exactly. And you start to see the precipitous decline, and even across a 3-year deal, you're like, bro, I don't think this is what we wanted. And that's what you're really worried about. So, and I one thing I always love about Chad is that they come up with some of the worst ideas that you could imagine. So
you said it, not me.
Yeah, the Nick Schmaltz thing, you want another, but sure, let's trade for another winger and jam him at center that can't play defense. He would definitely fit into their style, but all of their other issues, I mean, and you're talking about Utah would be moving Clayton Keller's best friend. Good luck. Way to light your locker room on fire for no discernible reason, because the Avs don't have any assets. That Utah is absolutely Ross Colton, hey, just guys they don't need. Total mismatch there for trying to fix that problem.
It's a tough free agency market for the center spot. Outside of the Avs trying to retain Nelson, I don't know that there's an option you really love that's realistically available to you. I know everyone's going to say Sam Bennett, but
yeah, it's your hope.
If Sam Bennett decides he loves Colorado and wants to come here on an affordable deal, awesome. But is that reality? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that guy, how much is he going to cost at this point?
Right.
You look at some of the contracts projection models, and Sam Bennett, 6 years, $6.5 million.
I'd do that today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Fine. You know that all the intangibles and the big game player and the physicality and the snarl and all the other stuff, the postseason, you just know that that's going to be more like $9 million. Do you want to do that for a guy who just had his first 50-point season in his career?
Nope.
Let me ask you guys this. I mean, coming off of the season that we just witnessed, where the Avs made however many trades it was over the course of the season, 9. Is this an issue you have to solve in the off season? Like, can you go into the season and tinker a little bit and see where we're at? And if it's around Christmas time and, hey, this just isn't working, maybe there's a team at that point who has somebody who could be on the market that isn't available now. That's obviously the alternate route. Instead of signing a free agent, you just wait to make a trade again. What do you move? That's a question. But
yeah, is it feasible? Yes, but I think you need to lay some groundwork. If the Avs are looking to do that, they probably need to pick up some draft capital assets that they're willing to move for a guy later down the line. Because right now, the Avs are...
Who do they have to do that? Who could you move and get some draft capital that wouldn't kill you?
Well,
realistic...
This is a whole other pod.
Yeah, this is Tuesday's pod, maybe. The quick overline is their second D pairing and a lot of their third line wingers.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Girard, Josh Manson, Ross Colton. are the obvious guys that you can move out for those.
If someone actually wants to give you something for Miles Wood, which I doubt, but you never know.
Yeah.
Trade him for a laundry machine.
Yeah, if you can get rid of him without having to give up a pick, I think the
Yeah.
Avs succeeded probably. So, yeah, it's and that's the part of it is like the only thing that I don't see happening is the Avs doing nothing. That isn't to say they're going to solve the 2C spot this offseason. They may well go in with what AJ said, but they're going to have to move pieces around the chessboard to set up for whatever comes next at a minimum.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. And I mean, like pie in the sky. It's obviously it remains Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, like that not going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pie in the sky for a reason. Like he finally is like, I'm good. And Pittsburgh retains a little bit of money. The Avs would not have to pay through the nose to do it because there would only be one taker that would hurt leverage. It would cost a first round pick and then, you know, something from there, but it wouldn't be a break the bank kind of thing. So
we need the Pittsburgh Penguins to start the way the Colorado Rockies have started. All right.
Exactly. Like we've had so many conversations and they always come back to it's not going to happen. So it's not going to happen, but like we're talking through some of these options. I mean, right now we could go through every single I feel I do this literally every year where I go through every depth chart of every team and go, this wouldn't make sense. This isn't going to happen. Yeah, chat mentions Marco Rossi. Great. I would be for that. But then the Avs would get Marco Rossi, and then what? Like, now we're going to get into the postseason, and everybody's going to be pissed off that Marco Rossi's not a postseason player because he's 5'9".
It's possible.
Then what? So, you know, like it's
Mason
just,
McTavish.
I don't. Yeah, like there are some of these younger guys that I think are worthy of this conversation. Mason McTavish would be one of them. Cole Sillinger is not one of them. That is not a guy, like, I think he's a good bottom six center. That's a guy that I was a huge fan of in his draft year. I think that the Blue Jackets have rushed him. I don't know that he gets to that level. I don't like him very much offensively. And Columbus has like $40 million in cap space. I don't think they're going to be moving around many of their centers. But I could see why, like they would be comfortable moving on from him. There are some young guys out there that you could try to talk yourself into. Oh, if that guy's available, but what assets do they have that would intrigue a team?
Yeah,
and you know, like, oh, now you're a 2027 first round pick. Great, that's not nothing, but a team is gonna have to wait 2 years. Like it's 3 draft classes from now. Like then they draft that guy, and then it's 2 or 3 years beyond that. You're talking about that guy may not even debut for a team till 2030 to make that trade now. Like that's
tough.
That's it. Yeah, like they just asset wise, and we know that they really wanted to make a bigger move at the deadline. That wasn't necessarily Nelson. They were working on it, but they refused to give up Gulyayev. It would be weird for them to turn around and do it now.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're living in a world where they're considering moving on from Sam Girard. Does Gulyayev not archetype as literally that guy?
Yeah, it's just a year from now. Like
right.
You're just giving up prime Sam Girard, like in it, like that this is a quality NHL player for a guy that will not come to North America for at least one more season, and then will be a rookie, and we'll see if he's any good.
Of course, there's a lot of ifs and buts there, but yeah, there's a lot of work to do this offseason, and the Avs are going to have to take some risks. It's just a matter of where they decide to take those risks. So,
yeah.
We are over time already, so we are going to wrap up this show, but we appreciate everyone hanging out with us. J. Mike, thank you for jumping on again. We'll have you back on a lot probably because it's summer.
Man, this was awesome. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there who serves our country. Shout out to everybody in the Toyota chat. It's fun to come on here. You guys are popping, active, good convo.
Let's go. Even in the off, well, we'll see what it looks like in August, but hopefully y'all are still here. We appreciate you. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We'll see you, I guess, on Tuesday.
We all silly like the mayor.